Avi Weiss, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my great, great pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. Avi, when did you arrive in Israel?
I arrived on Monday, soon after we entered into the ground. In my heart and in my soul, I felt I just had to be here with my family, with my daughter, and with her husband, and with their wonderful, wonderful children, our grandchildren. And two of their sons are in the IDF. One serves in the Air Force, and he does important defense work. And the other is in an infantry division, and he is in Gaza. We've actually not heard from him for many, many days. And I wanted to be here to offer whatever support that I could to my daughter and to the children, and just to be here with them.
That is wonderful. And one of the reasons why it's so wonderful to be able to speak to you is we want from you a sense not only of how your own children and grandchildren are coping with this right now, but to give us a sense, you've been there a number of days, what the mood is in Israel, what the mood is in the street, what the mood is when you talk to people. And I want to begin, though, I would imagine that your daughter, it's your daughter, is that correct? It's your daughter,
Yes.
Your daughter and your son-in-law, and they have 3 grandchildren, 2 of whom are serving in the IDF. I would imagine.
They actually have 9 children.
9.
7 boys and 2 girls. Thank
Mazal
God.
tov, mazal tov. So, how, Avi, do they live day to day with the anxiety of having one of their children in Gaza and another child in the IDF in general? But to be in Gaza, Avi, sounds to me very scary as a parent. How are they dealing it?
Well, they're beautiful people. They're strong people. They love Israel, a tremendous faith and belief that we just know that their son, my grandson, will be coming home safely, even as regardless of many lives. Right here in Efrat, I was at the funeral of a young Gibor, a great hero of Israel, whose name is Yuval Hyman, who fell. Mm-hmm. And they're sitting Shiva just down the block. And this morning, our daughter, together with a friend, they prepared breakfast for the family sitting Shiva. And it was quite a moment when they embraced mother to mother. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very powerful.
Now, you said you're in Efrat, correct?
Yeah, they live in Efrat, and I'm in Efrat. I've been, during these days, I've been at several funerals, several of the services. Some were all of them so powerfully touching. Even as I speak to you, I'm full of emotion. Mm-hmm. Right from the airport, I attended the funeral of an Ethiopian Jew, mm-hmm. Moshe Malako. And as I was looking at the throngs, I'm a Kohen, so I have to stand at a distance. I can't come close to a grave. But I'm looking out at the throngs. There must have been 1,000 people, of black people, white people. And I actually was thinking about the great Grenenberger. Grenenberger was one of the pioneers of the Ethiopian Jewry movement. And I always felt that Ethiopian Jews would really be absorbed in the country when they could marry anyone in the country, mm-hmm. when they would be serving in the IDF. Here Moshe was serving, and he gave his life. Mm-hmm. At the funeral of Yuval Hyman, his grandfather spoke, and his grandfather told the story about his father, Yuval's great-grandfather, who lost his life when the grandfather was 2 years old. And then he turned to the audience, and there were thousands of people. And he said, looking over the casket of his grandson, he said, my father, that is your great-grandfather, when you come up to heaven is going to be saying, Lama miharta lavo, why did you come so quickly? And yet, with all of the pain, and there is pain because I have no doubt with God's help that Israel is going to succeed and is going to overcome the terrible enemy of Hamas. But there's a price. The loss of any soldier is an extraordinary price, and we've lost too many soldiers already.
Mm-hmm. Avi, I do want you to speak about that in general. There was a feeling in Israel prior to the ground invasion that a ground assault was indeed needed, and that the Israeli public opinion was supportive of the idea of an action on the ground in Gaza. Inevitably, when ground soldiers go into Gaza, there are going to be casualties. People are going to be wounded seriously, and tragically, they will die. Have you felt any erosion in popular support for the ground action of the IDF?
My sense here is, and I've been in Israel many times during war, although this is the first time I'm in Israel during a war where I'm here not just because I love Israel, but I'm here as a grandfather, and it's a very different world. But I feel a tremendous sense of unity in the country. This is not a war. It's not an operation of protection shield. It's not a war of the right. It's not a war of the left. It's a war that really has united the people of Israel. Mm-hmm. There is no nation state that can tolerate rockets over 80% of the population, tunnels being dug under mosques and schools going into Israel proper, which could bring terrorists to maim and to murder. I mean, if Cuba were lobbying those kinds of rockets into Miami, Cuba would not have long to live. Mm-hmm. And the most fundamental responsibility of government is to protect its citizens. And this is precisely what Israel is doing. And I think from that perspective, I believe that the Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has conducted himself in an extraordinary way. And I believe that he understands he's not the Prime Minister of the right wing of the country. He's the Prime Minister of all of Israel. Mm-hmm. And I walk away and I live here now day in and day out feeling that the country is truly united, truly united. Mark, I was at the funeral just yesterday of Max Steinberg.
Yes.
And as I talk to you, I feel the shivers from head to toe. And at the funeral, Ynet reported there were 30,000 people there. People were standing shoulder to shoulder. He was a Chayal Boded. He was a lone soldier. He was a lone soldier because he had no family in Israel. And yet he had become, this young man had become a soldier of all of Israel. And there was this one moment where before the funeral, an announcement was made that if a siren is sounded, everybody should stay calm and lie down on the ground for 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, we'll resume the service. And I thought to myself, we're standing shoulder to shoulder. How is there going to be room for anyone to lie down on the ground? Mm-hmm. And I reflected upon the beautiful rabbinic legend that in the Holy Temple, all of Israel was present, Omdim Ritzufim, standing right next to each other. And yet when it came time to bowing down, there was still room. Mm-hmm. And that's the power of pure unity, of the unity of our people. There's a powerful sense of unity. There's a powerful sense that Israel is on the right path, the moral compass, that people of moral conscience understand. They recognize exactly what the Prime Minister has said, to paraphrase him, that while Hamas uses, that while Israel uses missiles to protect our children, they use children to protect their missiles. Mm-hmm. They recognize that the enemy is targeting innocent civilians and celebrate the death of innocent civilians, while Israel, the Jewish state and the Jewish army, even as it defends Israel, mourns the loss of innocent Palestinian civilians.
Well, you know, having you in Israel right now, in some way, Avi, you are representing all of us, as you have done so throughout your entire career. You have stood for us in so many important places and been a clarion call for the Jewish tradition in sometimes, by the way, in the strangest of places, but always in the most important of places. To have you there at your family's home in Efrat at this critical time You have given me chills, and my guess is many people who are watching you right now all over America on Shalom TV feel the same way. You know, if there's one thing you want America to know, Avi, what is it right now? From Efrat, what do you want us to know?
I think what I'd like people to know is that this is a just war. The people of Israel are united. And this is the time for people to come to Israel. It's not the time to run from Israel. It's the time to come to Israel. Michael Bloomberg got it right.
Yep.
When the FAA said that they were not going to land in Israel, that American airliners should not land in Israel, he hopped on an El Al plane. Mm-hmm. And he said, with all due respect, if Israel says that the Ben Gurion airport is safe, you can depend upon it. And he came. And when he came, it was tremendously, tremendously uplifting. Mm-hmm. Look, I recognize that Hamas, just like those Russian rebels in the Ukraine, would have no compunctions taking down a commercial airliner. That's why Hamas is not just the enemy of the Jewish people, it's the enemy of the whole world, of all people who love freedom. But in the same breath, if I had to choose between the FAA or the Israel when it comes to understanding security at Ben Gurion Airport, I trust Israeli security. Mm-hmm. And it's so important at this moment for people to come to Israel, for government officials, for senators, for congresspersons, for mayors. I'd like to see the mayor of the city of New York come to Israel right now. Right now, let him come here. We need his support. I think it's critical that hundreds of thousands of people gather in front of the White House to raise their voice, a voice of moral conscience, Jews and people of moral conscience, to tell the President of the United States and leaders throughout the world that they must support Israel to the hilt, to let the people of Israel know, and this is what's critical, that they are not alone. Mm-hmm. We stand with them. When I visited Hadassah Hospital, visiting wards where there were injured soldiers from Gaza, and walked in and I simply said to them, I'm a rabbi from Riverdale, New York. I come to tell you we love you. We come to tell you in the name of thousands of people 2 words, Toda Rabbah. Mm-hmm. And looking into their eyes and into the eyes of their mothers and fathers as we embraced, and seeing their tears, and seeing them say to me, Rabbi, thank you for coming. And I said, it's you who deserve the thanks. It's you to whom the Jewish community owes so much. This is a critical time. It is a difficult time. This is a very, very difficult war with a brutal, vicious, evil enemy. And this is the time for Jews not to run from Israel, but to run to Israel.
Avi Weiss, we say to you as well, Toda Rabbah. You have been for us, leading us, with us, shoulder to shoulder with us and the Jewish people your entire life. And, you know, I love you so much, and it is so sweet of you to make sure that you gave me the chance to talk to you from your children's home in Efrat. If you have to stay in Israel for a while, I hope you let me call you again. If not, when you come back to the States, we'll meet in studio. But I wish you and your entire family only kol tuva hatzlacha. May you all be safe. May your grandchildren return speedily and safely. Thank you very, very much, Avi. We'll talk real soon.
Right. That's the main thing, that our soldiers be safe. Absolutely. They come home safely. That's the main thing. Just to give you a sense of a mother, a last word. So our daughter was preparing a very important package of food that she hopes will get to our grandson. I'm not sure how it will get there. And she prepares this food, and I actually went shopping with her. It's the first time I've done that, Mark, in a long time. But it was a great zechut. And then she writes a couple of words to him and to his unit. And she writes, we love you, you are our heroes. And then she writes, and don't forget to use the deodorant and brush your teeth. And that's a mommy.
Just perfect.
Who loves her son, who's a real gibor. May all of these men and women whom we love so, may God bless them. And Ashrei Ha'am, Blessed be the people that has as its army, an army as strong and the most moral army on the face of this earth, the Israeli Defense Forces. May they all come home safely.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen. Thank you again, Avi, very, very much. Thank you.